Have you ever felt like you're being watched a little too closely in your conversations, as if every word you say is being analyzed and used against you? This eerie sense might not just be your imagination. It could be a clear signal that the narcissist knows you're onto them. If you find yourself suddenly in the spotlight, criticized, or aggressively questioned, you might be dealing with a narcissist who knows you're onto them. After 20 years of researching the deep connection between self-worth and narcissistic relationships, as a coach, author, and survivor myself, I know how taxing this can be. Once the narcissist knows that you see through their facade, they quickly escalate. And if you don't know what to look for or how to defend yourself, it could cost you your livelihood, your family, and your reputation. The tactics between a covert and a grandiose narcissist can be vastly different. So today, we'll keep it simple and we'll just focus on the grandiose narcissist. In this video, I'll share the 3 main tactics to expect when they know you're onto them, personal stories from my own experience to help you recognize these patterns, and actionable strategies to empower you in any conversation, making sure that you're always one step ahead. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the air change? Suddenly, everyone goes silent and you feel like you're the bad guy without even knowing why? This is what you can expect when a narcissist knows you're onto them, a drastic shift in their behavior aimed at you. Initially, they may start with the silent treatment. And this is just the setup. Once they get the chance, they'll move on to aggressive gaslighting, frantic manipulation, guilting you, trying to monitor you and control you. Within their circle of influence, they will start to paint you as the problem. They use bold lies and blatant denials to control the narrative, distorting facts and rewriting history. This is designed to undermine your confidence and to turn others against you and to make you feel like you have to comply with a narcissist's need or risk complete exile. This shift is sudden and strategic. Their gaslighting is no longer subtle. It will be extreme, disorienting, and with the intention of making you feel cut off and isolated. They don't just say that's not true. They'll say, you're making things up. Everyone knows you're a liar. Think of this gaslighting as a test to see if you're going to be a good little minion and comply or if you're going to be a problem. They won't come out and say it, but there will be a hidden message here that if you don't behave, they have the power to turn people against you and to destroy your life as you know it. When you're an empathetic person, you might miss this because you naturally want to try to make sense of things. You might make excuses for their behavior, saying, oh, well, they're just sick or stressed or they're going through a divorce, instead of seeing it as deliberate manipulation or threat. So it's really important to stay alert and understand how quickly they go from seeing you as a usable source of narcissistic supply to seeing you as a lethal threat. Once the narcissist knows you know, they are waiting for any slip up, any vulnerability to exploit. And if there's nothing they can use, they are more than willing to lie, gaslight, and manipulate to protect their power. This happened to me at our wedding, and the first move the narcissist made was to aggressively gaslight. She blamed me, saying that I'd ruined the wedding, my wedding, and that everyone was upset and that I needed to apologize to her. It was such a wild accusation and so blatantly out of left field, it was completely disorienting. Like, you can't be really saying this, right? At that point, I hadn't realized she was a narcissist, so I was still trying to make sense of this behavior, and I just thought she was like a very needy and controlling woman, and that was a big mistake. I wasn't ready for her next move, or how quickly things would escalate, or how aggressive she was about to get. And I'll talk about that more in the second tactic. When you realize that the narcissist knows you're onto them, the best defense is good offense. This is where the strategic silent technique comes into play. Understand that anything you say will be used against you. And this not only applies to the narcissist, but to anyone within their sphere of influence. At this point, you do not have allies, and no one is safe. And the narcissist will not tolerate any threat to their power. So first, resist the urge to explain or defend yourself. The more you say, the more currency they have to use against you. They will twist your words just to maintain their control. Instead, use strategic silence. When confronted, remain calm and composed. Use non-committal responses like, I see, or that's your perspective. This technique prevents the narcissist or any of their minions from gathering more ammunition to use against you. It also sends a clear message that you are not easily manipulated. Additionally, reinforce your boundaries firmly and assertively. Say something like, I'm not going to discuss this further, or this conversation isn't productive. Then physically or emotionally remove yourself from the situation if necessary. Have you ever found yourself suddenly isolated with friends and family turning their backs on you and you have no idea why? This is the next escalation you can expect with a narcissist when they know you're onto them. They will try to destroy your reputation. If the gaslighting didn't get you to behave, they will move on to more aggressive tactics, smear campaigns, and character assassination. A smear campaign is the spreading of false or exaggerated information to damage your reputation. For example, they might tell people that you've stolen money or cheated on your partner or sabotaged a project at work, making you appear dishonest and untrustworthy. Character assassination is slightly different. It's a deliberate attempt to destroy your credibility and to erode your support network. For example, they might accuse you of having a drinking problem or being emotionally unstable or spreading malicious rumors about other people, causing friends and family and colleagues to question your integrity and sanity. When you're an empathetic person, you might make the mistake of trying to defend yourself or to explain your actions, believing that if you just provide enough clarity or evidence, other people will see the truth. But this often backfires because the narcissist has already spread the lies, making it hard for others to believe you. And narcissists are so fierce, dominating, and aggressive and quick that they'll rally the troops around them before you can even blink. This happened at our wedding, where one day we were celebrating with our family, and the following day it was like how fake news spreads on social media. The narcissist story that I'd ruined the wedding and that everyone was upset and that I needed to apologize was repeated by each person in the family, word by word. And those that didn't confront us directly stonewalled, ignored, and gave us the silent treatment. Within one night, the narcissist turned the entire family against us, not only punishing us, but also making sure that we knew that if we didn't play by her rules, we would no longer have access to the family. If you find yourself the target of a smear campaign or find out that the narcissist is spreading lies about you, it's important to protect yourself immediately. My go to strategy is the fire break technique. The first thing to remember is that fire needs oxygen to burn. And in this case, oxygen includes reacting emotionally, engaging in arguments, seeking assurance from others, showing any visible distress, or providing additional information that the narcissist can use against you. Reacting in any of these ways can fuel their fire. So the best thing you can do is to stay calm, disengage, and deprive the narcissist of the reaction they're seeking. If you need to respond, use neutral, non-committal phrases that don't feed the drama. For example, you can say, I see, or that's interesting, and just leave it at that. This shows that you're not taking the bait and it helps you stay strong. Politely excuse yourself from any conversation that goes in this direction. You can say something like, I need to step away for a moment, or I'll catch up with you later. This allows you to remove yourself from the toxic environment without escalating the conflict. As you step away, mentally prepare yourself for the challenge ahead. Recognize that this is a tactic to destabilize you. Plan your next steps calmly and strategically. Don't be afraid to take action to protect yourself. If necessary, seek legal advice for a cease and desist order, or if this is happening at work, keep detailed notes and consider submitting them to HR. The key is to not become too silent or passive. Instead, take proactive steps to safeguard your well-being and your reputation. If you'd like a copy of the tools I share, sign up below and you'll get a new 3-minute empowerment plan every week. Have you ever walked through a dark parking garage at night, feeling hyper aware of every sound, knowing that danger could be lurking around any corner? This is the feeling that you need to memorize when the narcissist knows you're onto them, because it's critical feedback alerting you to possible attack. Paying attention to this heightened sense of awareness can help you prepare for their next escalation, threats, and intimidation. When their usual tactics aren't working, a narcissist will become more aggressive. This is not something to take lightly. They might threaten to sabotage your career by spreading false allegations to your employer, fabricating evidence to get you fired, or blacklisting you in your industry. They may also resort to physical intimidation, showing up unannounced at your home or your workplace, making menacing gestures, or even causing harm to you and your loved ones. They could escalate into actions like stalking, harassment, or manipulating others to isolate you further. This use of fear is intended to control and coerce you, making you feel trapped and more likely to comply with their demands. They become highly competitive and would rather see you destroyed, even at their own detriment, than to see you succeed. If you're an empathetic person, you might have a really hard time imagining that someone would willfully want to harm you. This disbelief can make it difficult to recognize the severity of the threats and the intimidation tactics being used against you. The very nature of your empathy makes you more vulnerable to the narcissist's manipulation because you're more likely to second guess your own perceptions and give the narcissist the benefit of the doubt. Personally, my biggest challenge is that this type of overt aggression tends to trigger a strong PTSD response in me. Instead of feeling strong and ready to protect myself, I become paralyzed with fear. Even as a grown adult, I feel like a tiny kid hiding from my mother's rage. My triggered response, my paralysis, though it feels debilitating, it's a huge red flag, alerting me not only to see the threat for what it is, but to ask for protection and help from people I trust, such as friends, lawyers, therapists, my husband, or anyone else who's a trusted resource. If you've had trauma or abuse in your past, do your best to create a team of protectors that will help you stay strong. When you experience that heightened sense of fear, similar to walking through a dark parking garage at night, use the alert action method to protect yourself. First, check in with the fear and get specific. Instead of letting it remain a vague anxiety, do what you can and pinpoint exactly what you're afraid the narcissist will do. Ask yourself, what is being threatened? What needs to be protected? Be as specific as possible. Are you afraid that they're going to get you fired, take your kids, steal your money? Identifying the specific threat can help you focus on the situation at hand. Next, start taking action. Do whatever you can to protect your resources, status, relationships. Make phone calls, take notes, list facts, or gather evidence. Fear escalates into overwhelm and anxiety when you don't take action. So, this isn't the time to overthink things. It's the time to act and to do what you need to do to stay safe in the short and the long term. This might mean asking for a transfer at work, or getting new locks on your doors, blocking phone numbers or emails, or finding a safe place to stay. If the threat is severe, contact authorities and seek legal advice. Knowing what to expect is your first line of defense. But now that you've learned what happens after the narcissist knows you need to understand the hidden motivation behind their behavior. So click this video next to learn the 3 secrets that all narcissists keep and arm yourself with strategies to shield your emotional well-being. Discover how to spot the signs, cut through manipulation, and step into your power.